What's up, bridal babes? Today we're heading to a Southern Bride Magazine styled shoot event in Fredericksburg, Texas to talk to the wedding world about trends, traditions, and tips for future couples planning a wedding. Grab a bevy, a blanket, hit that subscribe button, and let's get started. What's your name, what do you do, and how long have you been working in weddings?
Christy Seguin. I own Cakes Rock and Rosehaven Bakery and Event Venue. I have been working in weddings since 2013, but I made my first cake when I was 5 years old, so 49 years of cakes.
And what's your favorite thing about baking cakes for weddings specifically?
Just the joy that it brings. It's the centerpiece of the reception, it's the focal point, and just to make people happy, and then when they bite into it and it tastes as good as it looks, that's like the best.
What is one trend that you're predicting of seeing more of in the 2024 wedding season?
The old school piping, that what we call the Lambeth piping. Ever since Gwen Stefani had that wedding cake, it's really
like the ribbon.
Yes, with all a lot of heavy buttercream piping, really ornate.
Okay. I love that comeback of the tradition. It's like late 80s.
Yes, yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, it's really pretty.
And are you married?
I am.
How long have you been married?
We just had our 20th in June.
Oh, congratulations. What would you say is the secret to a successful marriage?
Working on it and just, liking each other. Loving each other.
Very important.
Loving each other is one thing, but liking each other and, being willing to compromise and work on stuff, because my husband and I are both very similar. We're both type A, and we will butt heads like crazy. So we've kind of learned that he does his thing and I do mine, and then we work together when we need to.
I love that. And if you had one piece of advice to give to couples planning a wedding, what would it be?
Hire the best photographer that you possibly can. When we got married 20 years ago, I didn't do that. I trusted a family member who said they were a photographer. I didn't get any pictures from my original wedding. I literally staged a vow renewal so I would have pictures with my husband.
Oh my gosh.
So the photographer is the pictures are the only things you're going to have left.
It's what defines that day after it happened, for
absolutely.
Sure. Great tip. Okay, well, thank you, Christy.
Thanks, it's nice to meet you.
You too. Okay, so tell me your name, what you do, and how long you've been working in weddings.
My name is Heather Jenkins, and I do photography full-time. And 2023 will be my first full year in weddings. I second shot, which just means that I wasn't the lead photographer for 2 years before I decided to go full-time. So I wanted to make sure I knew what I was doing. Yeah. It's kind of important.
Well, welcome to the wedding world.
I know, I'm so excited.
What is your favorite thing about working and photographing weddings specifically?
Telling a story. I think that's the best part of it is being able to spend time with my couples planning up until we get to that time and making sure that we're intentional and purposeful. So that their day of, it's not just a cookie cutter for everyone else's day of, and that their day of is really about their love story, what it includes, if it's important to them to have their grandmother included, being purposeful on the front end and having grandma write a letter or sit down with you and have her part of the day, or if your friends are important, making sure you're incorporating them. So I think just being able to tell that whole story from beginning to end in one day and capture it, and so I always tell my brides, after you spend all this time getting ready for it, but when the day is over, 20 years later, what you have left are the images. So for me as a photographer, it's just important that we tell that story, we capture it, and document it the way it should be.
Yeah, it's very crucial.
Right. Yeah. Everything else gets eaten or drank or, dies, and so the images are what you have left over. And
I hope people aren't eating the film out there,
right.
But,
Lots of pressure, but you never know.
So what is one wedding tradition that you could do without?
Only one. I know, I'm sorry. Only one. Let's see. So I think the whole procession, I could just totally do without that. It just takes time out of the ceremony. I don't know. Most bridesmaids, most people in the wedding party are terrified anyways when they're walking down the aisle, and the images are so awkward that it just doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't even come out right,
Yeah.
you know, and so they're just like walking down the aisle. So so the procession is just my least favorite thing ever.
Yeah, and you're lucky if they time it out right, so they actually get their
Yes.
photo.
So typically they're either too fast or they're too far. But most like wet bridal party, they're literally come down the aisle just so frightened and terrified. They don't look when they realize how many people are there, and it's just a part of the day. I hate editing those images. I say hate, but it's so I could totally do without that.
Okay.
There has to be a better way.
There has to be a better way.
There has to be a better way.
Can we just hot air balloon in or something, please?
Yes, or like skip, or just have the people there already.
What is-
Guest walk in.
Yeah. What is one of the craziest things you've ever seen at a wedding?
Oh my goodness. So one time, this may not be appropriate. But one time at a reception, there was this gentleman that was in a wheelchair, and this song came on, and it was his favorite song, I guess. So he jumped on.
Stop.
Yes.
Started doing the worm?
And started doing the worm. And then I was amazed for a few moments, and I was like, oh wait, I gotta capture this.
Oh my gosh.
And so next thing I knew, I was lying on the floor because I wanted the right, angle. And I didn't know if this was a miracle moment or what was happening, but it was pretty funny. It was like everyone was ecstatic, but till this day, it was the craziest thing I've ever seen.
When a man's got to dance, a man's got to dance.
When the right song comes on, and your body feels like it has to do it, you just have to do it. So yeah, I agree.
And so, are you married?
I am. I'm very married.
How long have you been married?
25 years. We just celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary.
Congratulations! So, in your 25 years, what would you say is the secret to having a successful marriage?
Oh, you have to work at it. You can't get lazy about it. Like, it's important, right? And so it needs to be important. Like, in your everyday, it has to be important. And so you can't ever get where you think that it's going to coast. You have to make sure that my husband and I do date nights, and we take turns once a week. Like, I'll plan one week and he plans one week.
Every week?
Yeah, we do. And so, we do things together. It's not like we don't just go out to eat, or we do things together. Like, just recently we learned how to make homemade pasta together, and so that became a part of our our life. But we learned how to do things together. We learned how to play chess together and stuff, and just really spend time together. It's important. Quality time is not just about sitting there. It's about learning, communicating, coming up with stuff, and just makes you stronger. But you just always have to work at it. You can't expect it to just come naturally and just be like, oh well, it's worth it. So put the work in.
Love is a garden you have to tend to. You can't expect it to just stay blooming.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And I am, like I said, I'm very married. I'm very
married, married as they come.
Yes, like the garage door opens, I still get kind of butterflies. He's home, and I dress a certain way for him. Like, I could not wear makeup all day, but he's coming home, and so I'll do that. So he's my boyfriend still.
Aww, dating for 25 years.
That's right,
Love that.
Right. I still call him my boyfriend. When I'm mad at him, he's my husband. When I'm really excited, he's my boyfriend.
Okay. He's your new fling.
That's right, yeah.
And what is one trend that you're projecting you'll see more of in 2024 weddings?
I think just things being unstructured. I think people are starting to get away from the traditional, I have to do this, I have to cut the cake at this time, I have to have a groom's cake, I have to have this. I think brides and couples in general, I always say brides because normally it's the bride that drives it, and sometimes I'll get a couple where the groom is involved and has questions, but typically the groom is just showing up on that day.
He's the support animal.
Yeah, he's just just nod and be okay with everything. But I think the traditional, you have to do this, you have to do that, is starting to go out the window. And it's more
Thank God.
Yes, so excited about that. It's more about the couple. I had a couple, I did a wedding just a few weeks ago, and they did a pizza cutting.
Aww.
Because they met at a pizza parlor. They both waited tables together, and so instead of doing a cake cutting, they had a pizza cutting. And I think just making it more about their love story is becoming the trend. It's more on point to be able to just tell your story and it not be just a checklist of things.
I love that.
And I love
Yeah.
that it's more about the couple and their day.
Yep.
So,
It is your day at the end of the day.
that's right.
Yeah.
And sharing all of that with your friends, whoever you so choose.
Right.
If you're by yourself, if it's a small group, if it's, your closest 250 friends, right? It's just about sharing what you want to share.
Okay, and if you had one piece of advice to give to couples planning a wedding, what would it be?
To make sure that you spend time vetting your vendors. Your vendors are someone that spends the entire day with you. It's important. I always tell brides, I'm going to be with you more than your mom, your fiance, your maid of honor, So you want to make sure that it's someone that clicks with your personality and that's open to your vision, that's going to spend time with you before your wedding day to make sure they understand exactly what you're wanting to happen, so that you're not worried about that all day, in all aspects, not just photography.
You want the vibes to be right.
Yeah, it's really important. And when I do a wedding and vendors all click and they click with the bride and they click with the vision, it's just such a better day. And so I just think you should take the time to make sure, who you're booking and how you collaborate with them.
I love that.
Well, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Tell me your name and how long have you been working in weddings?
Okay. My name is Melissa Gaines, and I own All in the Details events, and I have owned this business for 12 years.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
long time.
And what is your favorite thing about weddings specifically?
I think for us, it's really the design aspect. We get to, when our clients come in and they give all that trust and we establish that relationship, and then when they, we present, this is what we want to do, and they sign off, they're okay, and then come to the wedding day and they open up the doors and it's all come to life, and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that this is our wedding. That's,
Yeah.
I love that. And also the first dance. I love the first dance and the last private dance. So that's more than one.
It's okay. It's
Yeah.
it's hard to choose one
It
for
is.
sure. Weddings are very magical.
Yeah, so true.
As someone who has design and planning in their business, what do you think is the biggest misconception about planning versus design?
I think that a lot of people think that when they hire oh, this is just a wedding planner, and then we want to throw in design. It really is so much more than that, because we are looking at the trends that are coming from the West Coast, the East Coast, what's happening in Europe. All of those things you really have to take into account, and also budget, and so
Right.
some Pinterest can be your best friend, but it also can be your worst enemy, because they come in, they're like, I want this, and it's a Crazy Rich Asians type of wedding. They're
Yeah.
wonderful, what's your budget? And and we want to give it to them. So it's seeing how we can incorporate that. And if you don't have that mind of how can we do that, that I think can become a slippery slope for clients. So
Right.
I think that's what it is. Planning can be just putting it all together, but designing is really coming up with that concept that maybe they haven't seen that before. So, and to something that they come in and be like, I've never seen that. That's amazing.
Right. Pulling things from scratch.
Exactly, yeah. And so that's what a lot of our design boards too is we can't really come up with pictures for them. We're actually drawing them out and doing that, so that way they can see this is what, we're making an AutoCAD sketch of what it is you're going to get, because you haven't seen it before.
What is one trend that you're projecting to see more of in 2024?
So I think probably we're seeing a lot of velvets come in, and not just in winter. We're seeing a lot of it and also color. So kind of a little bit of both, color, because it used to be just blushes and golds. We're seeing a lot of color, but also a lot, sometimes a monochromatic wedding.
Right.
And I love to see that, and almost some stuff with no linens. And I think maybe it's different. The tables are it's a centerpiece. It's not, you can't have just a plastic table, but it's, something different.
Right. If you have a nice table, the tables that are here tonight, there's no linens on
Exactly,
them.
Yeah. So, and it coming a little bit more from farm tables, but actually having the rounds with the really beautiful pedestal vases, and having 20 of those, and it's having that kind of different feel. We kind of
Right.
see that maybe coming down the pipeline.
Right. And so, are you married?
I am, yes.
How long have you been married?
I actually been married 12 years coming this September.
Wow. So around the same time that you've been in the wedding industry.
Yeah, yes, a little bit. So I actually I started in corporate in 2002, and then when I got married, I realized that I really fell in love with the love aspect of it, and getting that relationship with our clients. And I'm still friends with a lot of our clients, and a lot of my planners are like, you just develop this bond.
Oh, I love that.
So, yeah.
And what do you think is the secret to a successful marriage?
Oh gosh, I think it's communication. It really is having that, I'm a big advocate for marriage counseling before you get married, like that whole so that when
premarital counseling.
Yeah, that's what it's called, premarital counseling.
We love it.
Yeah.
We're advocates.
Yes, I love that. And because you get to like talk about these big things that you're like, oh, I didn't think about that like later on, because it's not like budget and finances, but it's like children and like, do I want kids? Do I not want kids? And do I,
I want to be working when I have kids?
Exactly,
and
all of those things.
Yeah.
So, and to be able to kind of have that foundation before you get married, I think that just sets you up for success.
If you could give one piece of advice to a couple that's planning a wedding, what would you say?
I would say really think, from my perspective, think about your budget, but also think about the people that you want to be there. The way that we really, like when we talk with our clients, we say, hey, I know that you want to invite 300 people, but in those 300 people, are you, like in 5 years, how many are they going to be friends with? And then because that will affect your budget. And to be able to have, the kind of wedding that you want, I think that really helps with it. But also at the same time, it's like, what's the vibe that you want? How do you want your guests to leave? And how can we create that? So all of those things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Melissa.
Thank you so much, God. It was so fun talking with you.
So what's your name? What do you do in weddings? And how long have you been working in weddings?
Sure. My name is Courtney Davidson. I'm a photographer. I have been a full-time wedding photographer for 15 years now.
And where are you based out of?
I'm based in Nashville, Tennessee.
What is your favorite thing about photographing weddings specifically?
So I love weddings because for me, I'm always couple focused. I love everything about weddings, but my number one priority is my couple. And for me, what I really enjoy about what I do is it feels like a collection of looking for things that they might not have seen. So special moments that are happening that they might not even be aware that happened. I love providing those in the gallery for them to experience their day a different way. That has become not like a game to me, but it becomes what I really love to hunt because it's really ready, all there for you to, it's all unfolding.
Yeah.
And it's there for you to capture. You just have to be ready for it. So what I enjoy is like preparing myself for that and just being aware, paying attention and trying to capture that for the couple.
So what is your favorite moment in the wedding day to capture?
Ooh, it's got to be the first dance.
Okay.
First dance, I have teared up pretty much almost 100% of the time behind the camera. I think that's such a special moment if they treat it as such. Sometimes they are really uncomfortable and they don't love it, and it might not be such a moment in that regard. But that being said, I think that when I'm seeing it through my lens, and I'm usually using a really tight lens, I can really see faces and emotion. I don't know why. That one always gets me, and I have to have a minute to gather myself after that. So.
You're like, is it me or is the room getting foggy?
Well, especially if I know a little bit of their story, I really enjoy kind of hearing that song and relate it to something that I know about the couple or who they are, and I don't know. I think it's meaningful.
Yeah. What is one wedding tradition that you would rather do without?
That's a hard one. I mean, the bouquet toss and the garter toss are fun to photograph, and they provide interesting moments, in some cases, but I don't know, I wouldn't mind if they weren't there.
We wouldn't mind if we didn't have to throw anything at the wedding dance floor,
Yeah, I don't hate them. Some people really hate them. I don't hate them. They're fine. I like them. If you want to do it, do it. Yeah. But
that's why I'm like, what would you rather do without? You don't have to feel that strongly, but it's like, if that weren't in the wedding day, it would be fine.
Yeah, I mean, drunk people with fire sticks is also one of them, but I actually really love that shot, so I will get my hair singed for that photo. But
the sparklers are worth it.
100%.
What is one wedding trend that you're predicting to see more of in 2024?
I think that I'm seeing people really focus on enjoying their friends and family. I don't know if it was COVID. I mean, they always have done that to a certain degree, but there seems to be something about the way that they're planning their day that puts a focus and an importance on the people that they love that are there with them. And I'm getting feedback from my clients currently about photos that I've taken that I wouldn't have expected meant so much to them. And it does because I don't know, I think we're valuing those relationships and those in-person, those people that make it to your wedding, those people that come and make the effort to be there. I think that having that documented and having them there with you, I'm seeing that be more important, and I really I'm happy about that trend.
I also love that trend. Getting back to like the root of everything. Yep. What is one of the craziest things you've ever seen happen at a wedding?
Oh my goodness. So I'm probably close to 700 weddings in at this point, so this is kind of hard for me to remember. I would say I was second shooting, and this was my first year in business, so this was early 2000s, and the bride's blusher blew off her head. We were in downtown Manhattan, and it blew off her head, and the guy that I was working with, my mentor, I loved him. He's amazing. He's a great guy. He chased it down a major thoroughfare in New York City to get it because it was just so windy, but it blew straight up out of her hair. We got a picture of it coming out of her head and her being like this, and it blew away down. I don't know if it was, but it was almost like a FDR or something. It was a major New York
That's like a
highway.
comedic movie moment.
And he ran down that thing and caught it. It was the most amazing thing I have seen. I've seen plenty of crazy things at a wedding, but that's such a positive thing. I think he would do anything for his bride. He was going to get her blusher back. Sure enough, he did. So
he went after it, and that was his priority.
I'm pretty sure I have pictures of him at sunset running down FDR with his blusher.
Oh, it's like history in the making just happened. Yeah, wow. And if you had one piece of advice for couples that are planning a wedding, what would you give them?
Well, from a photography standpoint, because that's what I know the most, I would say hire someone that you really trust that has your priorities and your best interests at heart. I think we all do. We're all team players. We all want our clients, the best for our clients. But I think that after 15 years of this, I've seen people focus too much on getting exactly the right shot that they want and sacrificing timeline, energy, and things that are costly to the couple in the long run of the wedding. Because the day goes by so fast, and I think timeline management is so important, communication is important, planning in advance for extra time so that I can still get my job done and do what you've hired me to do, but that you have time to enjoy your wedding day. I'm fiercely protective of my clients, and I want them to have a good experience. I want to get my job done, but it's never going to be the ultimate priority. The ultimate priority is to have the balance. Yes, we get the photos we want, and you're on time. You can have time with your family and your friends. You don't feel rushed. Every wedding is different. Sometimes things happen, but I love that, and it's a priority for me.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
And that's it for this episode of Bridal Buzz. Make sure to find us on social media, subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you next time.